So if medical evidence is given by a medical specialist that all of these symptoms and what has been described is consistent with someone fainting and recovering from a faint, you wouldn't disagree with that, would you?
Yes, my findings would disagree with that, yes.
Your findings? I'm sorry, which findings?
The findings of what I found at the scene at the time. I could find no indication of anything along those lines.
All right, well, I come back and I'm giving you an opportunity again. If a medical specialist says that's what this was, you would be disagreeing with him, would you?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but he wasn't there. As an ambulance officer, my job is to assess the scene on arrival and treat it as I find it.
Yes, and your training, with respect, officer, is to manage symptoms, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's right. And you observe those symptoms, you manage them, and you report them, correct?
Well, you never manage symptoms, ma'am. You actually record them and make your diagnosis from those.
Well, I just want to pause there. The difference between you and a medical qualified person with a degree in medicine is that you are taught to manage symptoms and the medical people do the diagnosis. Would you accept that?
We are taught to manage the result of signs and symptoms, that is correct.
Yes, but you cannot say to the court today that you are qualified to make a diagnosis, are you?
We, in the ambulance training, are told that we make a preliminary diagnosis, a diagnosis pre-hospital.
And that is always subject to a medical person either agreeing with you, differing with you, or taking a completely different stance. Correct?
Yes, on presentation of the patient at the hospital and their assessment of the patient at the hospital, they would never prejudge what I did at the scene.
And what they would look at are the signs that you have observed and recorded in the sheets that you're required to put in after you've attended on a patient. That's correct, isn't it?
That's correct, yes.
The non-responsiveness that you have observed can also be consistent with someone suffering severe shock or trauma. Would you agree?
A person can choose not to respond to the people around them. Yes, that is correct.
That is not the question I put to you, officer. Not choose. I didn't put it as a choice. I have asked you, is it consistent that a person who does not respond may be suffering from shock or trauma?
Not in my usual experience.
In your usual experience?
Yes.
Would you agree this was a highly unusual...
They certainly are.
And just let me finish. A highly unusual and extraordinary situation. Would you agree?
Yes, it is.
Yes.